Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a biological mystery that haunts pretty much anyone who's ever tried to get lean. We're talking about why your body holds on to that stubborn belly fat, and, more importantly, how to gently and scientifically convince it to finally let go. We're going to break down the actual science of your metabolism here, and I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to look at fat loss in a totally different way.
So let's kick things off with a question that frustrates so many of us. You know the drill, right? You sweat it out at the gym, you push yourself until you're literally exhausted, you wake up sore, and yet, 6 months later, you look in the mirror and see absolutely zero changes to your waistline. The fatigue is definitely there, the joint pain is real, but the belly fat, yeah, it's still hanging on. The fitness industry has really conditioned us to believe that suffering equals progress. But what if that intense suffering is the exact reason your belly fat refuses to budge?
To really understand this, we need to look at a specific number, 300. That's roughly the number of calories in just a single, standard, sugar-coated donut. To burn that off through sheer exercise, you'd have to walk for about an hour, or run agonizingly hard until your lungs burn and your knees ache. It's a pretty striking contrast between a fleeting moment of pleasure and the grueling effort it takes to reverse it. It just goes to show that trying to out-exercise a bad diet is a completely losing battle. One tiny moment of weakness can wipe out a brutal workout, and yet, millions of people still believe the only way to lose belly fat is to punish themselves with extreme high-intensity workouts.
Well, the invisible force controlling your results here is cortisol. Biologically speaking, your body doesn't care at all about how intense your workout looks for a fitness aesthetic. It literally only cares about keeping you alive. When you constantly punish yourself with brutal cardio, and then combine that with sleep deprivation, high stress from work, and maybe way too much caffeine, your nervous system enters this full-blown fight-or-flight panic mode. Cortisol spikes. Your body interprets this chronic stress as a direct threat to your survival, and its evolutionary response to lock away your belly fat as a protective emergency energy reserve. Think of your fat cells as having tiny little traffic lights. You've got beta receptors, which act as green lights. When stress hormones hit these, they open right up and release fat. You have a ton of these in your face, your arms, and your chest, which, you guessed it, is why those areas lean out first. But your belly? That is packed with alpha-2 receptors. These are the red lights. When you blast your body with extreme stress from brutal workouts, these alpha-2 receptors actually restrict blood flow to your midsection and stubbornly lock the fat inside. Your body is quite literally sending a biological signal that says, hold on to this belly fat, guys, we need it to survive.
Which brings us to our first key concept, the two fuel tanks, glycogen versus body fat.
Your body essentially operates on two very different fuel tanks. Tank 1 is glycogen, which is stored sugar. It's like high-octane fuel for intense bursts of energy, like sprinting or HIIT workouts. But this tank is really small. Tank 2 is body fat. This is a massive, incredibly dense energy reserve. I mean, even a relatively lean person has tens of thousands of calories stored up here. When you do extreme, high-intensity workouts, your body panics and immediately demands fast fuel, completely draining your limited sugar tank. This usually means you're just burning off the meal you ate earlier. But when you take a gentle, low-intensity walk, your heart rate stays stable, cortisol stays low, and your body just calmly taps directly into that massive reserve of stubborn body fat.
Now, it's not just about how you move, it's about when you move. Look at the daily trap modern society has built for us. Every time you eat, your insulin spikes. And insulin isn't just a blood sugar manager, right? It's a storage hormone. When insulin is high, fat burning stops entirely. Do you notice the pattern here? We eat breakfast, then we sit. We eat lunch, sit again. Eat dinner, and then lay on the couch. Because we sit perfectly still right after eating, sugar just circulates in our blood for hours, keeping insulin high and keeping our bodies stubbornly locked in storage mode all single day long. But there is a biological magic trick to hack this timeline, and it's called the GLUT4 loophole. When you take just a simple 10-minute walk immediately after a meal, the mechanical contraction of your leg muscles actually creates a secondary pathway. It pulls glucose directly out of your bloodstream to fuel the movement, opening this amazing cellular backdoor that doesn't even require massive amounts of insulin. Your blood sugar stabilizes rapidly, insulin drops fast, and your body exits that stubborn storage mode in a fraction of the time.
All right, let's move on to number 2. The magic of NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and here's a secret. The people with the best physiques aren't necessarily grinding at the gym for 3 hours a day. They're just constantly moving. By sprinkling these delightful little movements throughout your day, like pacing while you're on a phone call, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or just parking at the back of the lot, you can effortlessly burn hundreds, sometimes even thousands of extra calories. Unlike sitting motionless under artificial lights and sending your body into this sort of sedentary hibernation, keeping your NEAT high ensures your metabolism literally never fully turns off.
And that leads us to our third concept, the incline upgrade, basically defying gravity.
Walking uphill or incline walking is just incredibly powerful. Setting a treadmill to a nice healthy incline at around 5 kilometers an hour for 30 minutes adds this perfect gravitational resistance. Your glutes, your hamstrings, and your core have to work overtime, which raises your heart rate right into that perfect fat-burning zone without the joint-destroying impact of running. But here's the absolute crucial point, and honestly, so many people get this wrong. Do not hold the handrails. Seriously, the second you lean back and put your weight on your arms, you artificially remove the gravitational load from your legs. You're literally deleting the exact resistance that makes incline walking so effective in the first place. So let those arms swing naturally.
Okay, so here is a really sweet, sustainable 12-week roadmap to reset your metabolism. In Phase 1, the first 4 weeks, I don't want you to even worry about the scale. Just focus on 3 10-minute walks right after your meals to retrain your insulin response. Simple, right? Then in Phase 2, weeks 5 through 8, intentionally build your NEAT up to about 8,000 steps a day. By the time you hit Phase 3, weeks 9 to 12, your energy is going to be thriving. At that point, you can push for 10 or 12,000 steps and start adding in those incline treadmill sessions. It's a progressive, gentle, and highly effective approach.
Now, we do have to mention an undeniable grounding reality here. Walking is the accelerator, for sure, but your nutrition, that's the engine. And if your engine is broken, slamming on the accelerator just isn't going to get you very far. Even if you hit 10,000 steps and crush your incline walks, if your diet consistently exceeds your daily energy balance, that stubborn fat is going to stay right where it is. Sadly, walking is not a free pass to eat an entire pizza. But the good news is, unlike brutal cardio which spikes your hunger hormones, gentle walking actually helps regulate and stabilize your appetite.
Which brings us to exactly why this approach actually lasts a lifetime. Look, extreme fitness plans usually fail because they rely on these wild, fleeting bursts of motivation. You get hyped up, you rely on an emotional high. But let's be real, emotions are unstable. They always crash eventually. Walking, on the other hand, relies on building a cozy, unbreakable system. A system survives rainy mornings. It survives a super stressful week at work. When taking the stairs or doing a post-meal walk becomes just an automatic system in your life, you don't need to feel inspired to do it. You just do it.
There's this beautiful piece of Stoic wisdom that says, you either control your impulses or they control you. It's a great reminder that true transformation isn't just physical, it's totally psychological too. Every single time you choose a 10-minute post-meal walk over instantly melting into the couch, you are casting a vote for a brand new identity. You're taking back control of your body. Brick by brick, habit by habit, you prove to yourself that comfort no longer dictates your decisions. Remember, your metabolism remembers your daily habits, not your momentary intentions. We evolved to walk the earth, not to sit perfectly still while stressing out over our survival. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one thought. The next time you finish a meal, ask yourself, are you going to stay trapped in storage mode, or are you going to take 10 minutes to literally walk away from the stress? The choice is entirely yours.